Out here, the land stretches endlessly. The sun comes up, and life moves with it. It's quiet, but there's always something just beneath the surface. Lions and rhinos, this is their world. For Randy Westraadt, it's not just a place, it's a way of life, shaped by decades of experience, and some things only become clear out here. Randy's been guiding for over 30 years. He's seen the changes, the challenges, and the moments most don't ever get to witness. He doesn't just teach you to hunt, he teaches you to understand. It's not all about the hunt. There are things people don't like to talk about. Conservation, ethics, controversy, but Randy faces them head on because out here, you can't look away. Salt Lake Worldwide Podcast, more than stories, more than adventure, a deeper look at life lived between the wild and the world.
In today's episode, we have the pleasure of speaking with a true legend in the African hunting industry, Randy Westraadt, owner of Choice Africa Safaris, not only a renowned professional hunter, but also former Lieutenant Colonel in the South African Defense Force and a former executive, PHASA. With decades of experience in the field, Randy has seen it all, from leading military operations to guiding safaris through some of Africa's most incredible landscapes. Today, we'll be exploring Randy's unique perspective on the ethics of hunting, predator conservation, and the evolving role of hunting in modern Africa. We'll also touch on some hot-button topics such as high-fence hunting, social media's influence on the hunting industry, and controversy surrounding captive-bred lion hunts. So whether you're tuning in for Randy's expert insights or to hear his take on some of the most pressing issues in the hunting world today, you're in for a great episode. Let's dive in. Randy, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks, guys. Thanks, Sean. It's an absolute privilege and honor to be on this podcast. I'm looking forward to the show.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. You and I have been talking back and forth for several weeks now, and it was great. And I want a quick shout out to Chris with Avula Safaris for hooking us up with you. He suggested it several weeks ago, and he thought you would be a great person to bring on, and so I just want a quick shout out to Chris for putting us in touch. And I think you've got a lot of good things we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. So I've been in the hunting industry full time since 1992. I finished with the military. I was one special service battalion, finished as a lieutenant colonel there. And hunting was always part of my life, and never thought of doing it professionally. But as I got more involved in the world of trophy hunting, I saw that this is really a place where I could make a difference. And since 92, I became a professional hunter. 94, after I resigned from the military, then I started running a full-time business. And up until stage, it's still a great business. That's why I want to be. It's a dream that I'm living.
Yeah, that's awesome. And is there any coincidence that 1994 happened to be the year you retired, as it coincides with some other portions of your history that aren't so great?
Yeah, that was our election year, and people don't like me saying that, but one of the reasons that I left the military, it's a great profession and we had great people, but our enemies started to become our commanders. We took them in today. It's a different world than what it was in 94. We just came out of a 30-year-old Angolan guerrilla war, involved with the Cubans and Russians and, of course, China's input, and mostly on the borders of Angola in Namibia, which was at then Southwest Africa. And it was all communist onslaught into Southern Africa. And in 1989, April, they signed a resolution 435 or something in New York, and the forces, the Cubans withdrawn, we withdrawn, and Namibia, Southwest Africa became independent, Namibia, and then we drew back. And from there, everything changed a little bit in politics, and Nelson Mandela was set free. A new political era arrived, and actually today, 30 years after our election, I can say it's actually really going well in South Africa. We've got a new government of national unity, which we are quite happy about. So everything is good and well. Everything is well now.
Well, yeah. So, and that's where I was going with that. In watching your recent elections for the first time since '94, essentially, the ANC isn't the powerhouse it used to be, and it looks like you guys have finally been able to make some strides towards a more diverse government that's going to help all parties and not just look out for themselves and pad their own pockets.
Yes, we're hoping for that. We've got some excellent people. We see ourselves as a so-called rainbow nation. And there's a lot of wrong perspective in South Africa, especially about the safety aspects of our country. Of course, we've got areas like all over the world where you don't want to be left alone. But South Africa's got a high crime rate, but it's not as what is on the media where like, well, you're coming into South Africa, your life is in danger, sky is chasing you to rob you, stuff. There's definitely, and that's why one of the reasons of hunting and choosing a good outfitter is to know the parts not to be at and what to do and when to do what, and to advise the travelers to South Africa on a really good and positive way. And the whole of the country is in harmony with each other, all wanting a good livelihood. And hopefully it's starting getting better now with the government of national unity. So we're excited of what's laying ahead.
Yeah, I still remember my first trip to South Africa. I was scared shitless because the only thing I knew about South Africa was how unsafe it was and how I need to be careful. And so, fortunately for me, I hunted with a very good outfitter my first hunt in, and they had a VIP pickup at the airport for us and stuff like that. So, it wasn't nearly as bad, but every year we take new hunters over, and that's always the first question. Hey, are you sure is it safe? I want to bring my wife or I want to bring my kids. And my answer is yes, it's absolutely safe. It's no different than any place in the States. And that there's parts of Chicago that you don't want to go to. There's parts of New York City you don't want to go to, or LA. So long as you've got a good outfitter, that knows what they're doing and keeps you out of the places, you may not even see it. Now, there's a chance that you're going to drive through some areas that look very much like a third world country, but that's part of it. But it's not that they're unsafe, and your outfitter's going to keep you safe.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's very important. It's about relationships, and it's about a good mindset that you have. Yes, we can look back and be angry at each other, but the people working in my business has been with me for 17, 18 years. They've been looking after my kids while I'm not there. And we've got a real positive attitude. We take care of each other. We treat each other, what's the word? Decently.
Lots
and
of respect.
Yes, that's the word. And then, so it just makes stuff easier. I love to admit that my hunting team, I'm nothing without them. I'm nothing without my trackers. I'm nothing without my skinners. I'm nothing without my family backing me up, and friends and good people. And I surround myself with good people because I believe positives attract positive reactions. And I've never been negative in my life. I've got a very inquiring and inquisitive mind. I ask a lot of questions. Some people see questions that I'm asking as confrontational, but actually it's just give me the facts. I'm a self-proclaimed overthinker, and I really need to know specific information at specific times. And I think that comes out of my military background, where the more detailed I have, the better planning I can make, and the more peace of mind I can have. I always tell my clients, I'm not selling you a safari, I'm not selling you experience, I'm selling a peace of mind. And I want you to know when you come there, everything will be taken care of, and everything is planned. Even the unexpected is planned, and doing um, management. What is the word? To adapt when situations change. It might rain tomorrow when we plan sunshine. It might this and I've never. The more pressure I get, the better I seem to operate. So I put myself under a hell of a lot of pressure um, to perform. Firstly for myself. Secondly to my clients and everything, and we are a religious family. We are and we give at the end of the day all the blessings and honor we give to God above, and we're just a happy group of people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, and one thing I wanted to bring up. So, obviously, you were recommended as a person I should talk to, but I never go in blind. So, I spent a good portion of the last 2 weeks researching you and researching Choice Africa Safaris. I can't find a single negative comment review. Everybody that I talk to talks good about you and your operation. So, what sets you apart from everybody else? Because I've never met. You're the only outfitter that I've ever met that somebody doesn't have some bullshit to say about, right? But everybody, when I said to you, was just no. Randy's a straight up guy. He's great. Runs a first class operation.
I probably buried all the guys talking negative about me.
That's what I was thinking. They were scared to say anything bad. Yes, sir. No, sir.
And I can assure you, there are guys, but at the end of the day, I've got such a passion for the wildlife and the industry and the related industry, and I made a point for myself. I cannot guide someone on an animal I haven't hunted myself. I cannot guide you on an elephant hunt, which any guy in our country can put you up on an elephant. But has that guy been on an elephant hunt himself? And I never wanted to guide someone, and it's both of us first time on a lion track or an elephant track or whatever. And I made a mission, and I were blessed with some really good people from my life that gave the opportunity for me to hunt. Well, I don't want to say every animal in Africa, but the most common animals in all of the hunting countries in Africa. After that, I had good American friends taking me hunting elk in Colorado, mule deer. We done whitetail. We hunted free range. We hunted high fence elk. We've hunted. I booked myself into hunting camp, trying to get to know my clients. I've hunted whitetail and javelina, exotics on Wyo Ranch, King's Ranch, shot an old guy. I traveled to Europe and I hunted reindeer in Norway. I've hunted New Zealand. I've hunted Asia. Went to Tajikistan, Marco Polo, ibex hunted. So I've really got a intense knowledge. When a guy speaks about a mako or a blue sheep or a muntjac, I know exactly what it is, where you hunt it, how you hunt it. When we're talking calibers of rifles, I never get into argument what's the best. Is a 6.5 BCR better than a 6.5 Creedmoor and stuff. I don't get into argument. If you're happy with what you have and you know how it is, that's the best gun available. I'll tell you, yes, that's too light for buffalo. That I don't recommend that on a kudu. So I'm a self-proclaimed student, and I just soak in information, and I read a lot and watch YouTube, and one of my military commanders, we called him the Golden Lion. He told me, you know what, Randy, you can learn something from everyone, even if it's how not to do it. So every person that comes in your life can teach you something. He can teach you a new thing. He can teach you a better way to do something. He can teach you good manners, and it can also teach you how not to do something. When you look at that guy and say, no, that's not right. And I make a hell of a lot of mistakes. And I think what makes me different as well is that I'm not scared as an old military commander to take responsibility. If I tell you that's a great 55-inch kudu bull, plus minus, and I shoot it and we come there and it's like a 48-inch, I laugh at myself and I say, I fucked up.
Right.
And let's go shoot another one. Let's go. I will not talk you into this great trophy you have. Yes, it's a good kudu, but it's not the one I said. It's not the one maybe you asked me on your safari to hunt. And with a client in San Antonio, Dr. Dave Garza, I actually shot a wrong lion. Was a big male, and I actually promised him something else. And when I came to it, I was very young in my career. I saw, oh, damn, this is not the one that I actually was promising and talking him into. And after a little bit quiet, he was happy. And I said, Dave, I made a mistake. It's my wife was angry with me. It was like half the house bond I had to pay on the second lion and stuff. But at the end of the day, Dave Garza sent me 30, 40 hunters because he felt he was kept well, and that I made 10 times what I've lost on that lion by just being honest. So I think that's part. And also, for me, I'm very involved in the conservation side in terms of I sit on boards and memberships of associations where I participate as a board member or as a subcommittee member, because if you don't speak up, you always think someone else is going to cover that hole. Someone else is going to see that we don't lose that permit or get that permit. And I've always been right up front. So I'm very knowledgeable on, let's say, at least the South African part, and I know the rest of the world of hunting quite well. So I think that sets me apart a little bit. My motto of Choice Africa is my tagline. It's more than hunting. It's not just hunting. I'm not promising you the biggest and the best. I'm promising you peace of mind. I promise you it's going to be more than hunting. We're going to become friends. We're going to sit around. We'll never have a quiet moment. You'll tell me to shut up, please. You want to go to sleep, and I'll still be talking. And
yeah, that's actually, something that I preach over and over again, that trigger squeeze, it's fleeting, it's microseconds. It's all the memories you made getting up to there and the memories you're going to make after with your PH and your trackers and, the entire hospitality staff and everything it took to get here. Those are the memories you remember. That trigger squeeze, I don't remember those trigger squeezes. That wasn't the important part of the safari, when I come out of it. And very often it's not even the animal. It's just the experience. Man, I had a great time at camp. This is the best camp I've ever been to. We laughed and joked the whole time. There was no screw ups. It went off without a hitch kind of thing. Obviously hunting, you want to be successful, but really, especially after you've been a couple of times, like it's more, to me, it's like making those memories with people that you become friends and family with that mean the most.
Yes, everything is about memories. At the end of the day, it's going to be all that we have. A professional hunter, we should be much more humble. We just glorified waiters, and that is what we are. We're there to serve.
I'm definitely getting a comment about that statement right there. I can see it in the comments right now. Somebody's going to show their ass about that.
And you can wear a whole armful of elephant hair bracelets. You can wear 1,000 bands around your head. You can have cut-off sleeves and stuff. At the end of the day, you're there to serve. One of my clients many years back on a big elephant. He said he's been dreaming of this his whole life, and we made it possible for him. And that's what I love with everything. We've got such a fulfilling um, job that we can make someone's dreams come true. It as it was my dream to hunt a big bull elk, and I had this in my mind for years. I read American gun magazines, and even before internet came out, I bought these USA magazines that were like my whole pocket money for just one magazine. And I bought it because I saw this big elk on the front page, and I read about Elmer Keith and Jack O'Connor and all these legendary American guys, and I read about guns and the 270s and this and this, and eventually when I had that opportunity walking in Colorado and seeing elk, hearing elk, it was a dream come true. And I do that 250 days a year, making people dreams come true. Sometimes the dreams turn into nightmares and that stuff, but it's um, the nightmares are usually self-declaimed nightmares. The people don't prepare well. They get blistered, bring new boots, and we do a 10-mile walk, and their feet are all blistered up. The next morning, they have to walk in their flip-flops to move. Can't walk. That type of stuff. They're not good stuff. And we get up to animals, get a leopard on a bait that we've been doing for 18 days, miss the leopard, shooting at it, and it's stuff that's happened, but at the end of the day, we're glorified waiters that make dreams come true. And that's my whole philosophy. I enjoy it much more for my client or my friend or my daughter or to hunt and shoot an animal than me shooting itself. I'm really so happy when I've got my client on that shooting sticks, not thinking about the $5,000, not thinking about, just thinking we need to get a shot in that because I want this guy to have the kudu. He must have the kudu. And the
Yeah,
highs and the lows.
and I know where you're coming from, exactly where you're coming from. I've been several safaris, and over the past couple of years, we started filming and we started, making more of a movement towards the social media side. And I've been fortunate that I've got friends that I've been able to invite that kind of over. But I go back to like last year, for example, I was able to spend several days in a row with Mike and his daughter. And it was not only her first trip there, but his first trip to South Africa as well. But I spent the time with them behind the camera. And I was with her when she took her first animal, and I was with him when he took his first. And then Paul, obviously, this year too. Paul's first. I was there for Paul's first free range kudu this year, and it's to me, I enjoy it more being behind the camera and getting to see the reaction and the emotion that goes on, and just being able to live that experience with them in real time. I could care less about the gun at this point in time. I just got to enjoy something that somebody's been dreaming about forever.
Yeah, no, that's it's just amazing. I live for those moments, and I have sleepless nights when we miss the opportunity. I don't care about missing a shot. It happens. But and I feel bad for that guy when if he wins something and we go back and we haven't recovered it yet. I feel bad for that guy. It's not, well, I've made my money, I found blood. I don't care about that. I feel bad for the guy. We just need to have that animal. And that's my whole thing, yeah.
Well, that's good. And Paul, I could see the wheels were turning there when Randy was talking. Were you jotting something down that you wanted to jump into?
No, well, I mean, just listen to his, my previous career and his previous career, and listen to him talk about, taking responsibility always, and then, it's never about me; it's about the team, right? And then obviously at the very end, it's about to serve, right? And that's the lessons I took away from my previous career, and it sounds like you did the same. And definitely correct me if I'm wrong. And that in itself would obviously, to me, would make you, just stand out among people, because those are lessons that you take and you embrace and you live. And that totally translates to taking care of clients, taking care of your business, taking care of the multiple organizations that you've been taking care of. So again, hats off for learning all those lessons and working on passing those on. The only other thing I might add is, when you're dealing with clients, how did your previous life in the military prepare you to get those guys ready? As far as like packing list or boots or any of that stuff. Any lessons you took away part of that side?
Yeah, it's always been my what my
Go ahead,
military.
just say it. Call it a babysitting job. I'll call it for you.
Yeah, yeah. I always try to make my clients feel at ease, and we do some teamwork and that. But at the end of the day, I think it's the passion I have for that. I've been a proud soldier. I got married in my full military uniform. I'm a proud member of the Professional Hunters Association of South Africa, PHASA. And I hate it when somebody takes stuff for granted and are not proud of what they are not putting in an effort. And that's a way that I've been, and that puts a lot of pressure on myself, because my standards are high for myself. I don't expect what I expect from myself from other people, but it's just a great. I'm just passionate about everything on this.
Well,
How do you personally cope with that, though? You're driven like you guys were in the military. You don't take no for an answer. Blah blah blah. You do this, and then you get the people that you have. How is it for you to adjust to those civilians? I should say.
One of the principles of a good soldier in a unit is adaptability, and I think mostly I've learned that from my wife. We have to give in at at some stage, but with my age and the time era that I've come, a lot of the civilians have the respect of us, and when I get in hunters, I take control, but not on a dictatorship, military type of control. The more information I feed someone, the less I need to manage that person, because
So you
he's got
call it manage. I call it babysitting.
yes, little manipulating and that, but it's the I don't take, like I said, I don't have a problem taking responsibility, but I've never had problem adapting towards it. I don't have a authority that doesn't take no as an answer. I love to talk to people who differ from me, because I love debating, and if someone
I feel like we're gonna be there before this podcast is over.
yeah, and if someone can convince me differently, I will definitely take that on and adapt to the new thoughts that I have. I just love it. I'm academically, practically, but at the end of the day, everything for me has to work on the ground. It has to be practical, done. I don't like to do theories. We can do a theory, then I say, right, how will this work on the ground? And but I don't have a problem adapting. I can be really hard-headed, and I can stand on an opinion. But if you can convince me your opinion is, and I respect a hell of a lot, even if we don't agree at the end of the day, that we have the right to agree on it, and we can still walk away as best friends. I don't, you don't do captive-bred lion, I do captive-bred, but we both say, you know what, it's a legal form of hunting. I'm not participating. Whoever wants to do it, let him do it. I'm not doing it. And I'm not going
Well,
to...
yeah, we're going to get into that, but I want
Yeah.
to go back for just a second because you did mention PHASA, and for our viewers, most of our viewers have heard the term before. They don't know exactly what it is. Could you explain to us? I mean, you're a former executive, I believe, and you've been involved with PHASA for over a decade, I believe, right, or 2 decades. Can you tell us, for our viewers that don't know what it is, just give them a brief rundown of what PHASA is and what you guys do?
PHASA, abbreviation for the Professional Hunters Association of South Africa, was established in 1978 by concerning hunters that were thinking the professional hunting industry has to be controlled and work under a certain guidelines. And today, PHASA is the biggest professional hunting association in the world, and we have tremendous worldwide acknowledgement. And PHASA takes care, its mandate is taking care of professional hunters and taking care of the clients, the foreign clients visiting South Africa. And we are influencers in terms of policies of government, policies within the hunting communities, the non-government, the NGOs. And we have 3 legs that we are standing on. We've got the PHASA Foundation, which is basically our humanitarian part of it, a hunter's care project. We concentrate on livelihood, research, and conservation. And PHASA is a watchdog over government. Our government, I think, is part of a worldwide movement trying to stop trophy hunting, especially. And we have to, every single day, fight some battle of our government putting out new legislation stating this animal, you need a special permit for that animal, cannot be hunted anymore. They took away our elephant permits, our leopard permits. And so PHASA is fighting legal battles. They are fighting on social media. They're fighting all types of battle for the hunter to make it possible to really work on sustainable utilization in our country. I've been on the executive committee for nearly 8 years. And 2 years back, I didn't put myself up election, but I have been co-opted again. And I'm a director of the PHASA Foundation, which is basically, we raise money from hunters and spend it on livelihoods and on research projects. At this moment, we're busy researching or funding research on cheetahs, black-footed cat, vultures, the baobab trees. We are financing, protecting them. We're putting mesh wires around the baobab trees that the elephants can't destroy them. And
just saw that recently.
Yeah, we've been honored with full membership in the IUCN, the PHASA Foundation, this week. We became a full member of the IUCN, and that is a huge movement to get international acknowledgement from the IUCN as a hunter's care association, and we're very proud of that. And so PHASA is the guys that see to that your rifles can be traveling on aeroplanes to South African airports. They are the guys that see to that you can have more than 4 rifles because you're a professional hunter. Our law states a normal person can only own 4 firearms, but a professional hunter dedication, you can have as many as you want and as much ammo as you want. A lot of people are asking us, what is PHASA doing? And I just say, become a member, because you really need PHASA. We on every wildlife and hunting issue meeting in this country from government. We read every new legislation coming through. We've got a legal team. We did we've got a MOU with Safari Club International that they are backing up PHASA now. We've got a MOU with the Houston Safari Club. And we're growing in status, and we are growing in legislative empowerment that we are getting, and our government really wants PHASA to be there and to help them make the right decisions. That is good for the country, but that's a tremendous international membership is only like $55 a year, and we've got some great incentives. We've got a medal program for trophies, bronze, silver, gold medals. We've got all the newsletters. We've got a great website telling you what to look for. We've got a rifle import section where you can import your rifles to South Africa through PHASA. Now, it's just a must-be with tremendous people and great. We are members association. The members have a vote. It's not only the executive committee that can decide what PHASA does. And PHASA really looks after its members in all categories. If someone get injured, they look after that PH. They help with medical funds. They help with people wanting food. They help with everything. So that is the top hunting association that I've ever been a member of in my life. It's great people there.
Yeah, and you mentioned trophy hunting, and so my follow-up question is going to be, what are some misconceptions people have about trophy hunting and its role in conservation?
There's such a huge misconcept in the world of trophy hunting. Sometimes I think it's a deliberate misconception, because the animal rights associations, the ARA and the NGOs, campaigning is a money game. They make a living out of campaigning, so they don't want to understand trophy hunting. The first misconcept of trophy hunting is that a trophy hunter trophy hunting is not regulated. A guy goes in and he decides, I'm going to kill this big elephant, and he kills it. The second thing is that they think the meat is not utilized. I think we shoot that kudu bull, we cut off its head, and then we walk out with our kudu bull and we hang it up our wall. Every single ounce of meat, even the intestines, everything, are being utilized on that animal. So I cannot understand why a person will say, oh, it's okay to hunt for meat, but it's not okay to hunt for a trophy, because the meat is always getting utilized, and it's even getting more utilized. Now, when we look at trophy hunting, we have to look at a value chain. If I take one kudu and I start the value chain there, right? My property has to have a tracker that tracks that kudu. The professional hunter, we have to have camp staff for your accommodation, and cleaning staff and washing staff and whatever to run the lodge, camp cooks. we shoot that kudu, we have to have a skinner. When we've skinned it and put it in a salt after your safari, we deliver it to taxidermists. That guy has to create jobs to have this thing either mounted or shipped and dipped. It goes into a crate, it goes to a courier company, it goes to a shipping agent, it climbs on a flight or on a boat. It arrives in the United States, it has to be custom cleared. So if you take one $3,500 kudu and you add up that chain, you will see you are getting close to $20,000 of value chain that is running through that. And then, of course, the meat part. Either we sell the meat, we donate it to communities, we use it for camp meat, we distribute it. It's another 500 pounds of protein coming into the system. We had an argument with our Minister of Agriculture, and they say the game farmers are taking away meat production farms. And I proved to them my property can carry about 800 head of cattle, but I can carry about 2,500 head of game. If we take the pounds of meat that I take off by hunting, it's more than a pound of meat I can take off from a cattle ranch. So why am I not acknowledged as part of the food chain in our country? Why is it only the cattle farmer, the sheep farmer, the goat farmer that are part of the meat value chain? Because I supply more meat and I have much lesser environmental impact on that. And a further economic incentive, if I had my farm as a cattle ranch, I could run that whole farm with 4 workers. But now I have to have 16 workers to run my game ranch. So I don't know what is the real problem. And a lot of people hate saying it, but a lot of our problem in our country is the white people, the white elite. They don't understand sustainable utilization. They see that elephant as, the poor elephant, they talk to each other, and if one had big ears, it might even be able to fly over the fence, and if it's this and this, they have all this Disney stuff in their head. And but the African guy sees that as there's 10,000 pounds of protein, and this thing is endangering my life. So we are in Africa, and we shouldn't let Western ways of thinking rule Africa and how to manage the wildlife in Africa. So trophy hunting, another argument, they say we're shooting out all the big genetics of the animals. If I shoot a 150-pound elephant that is 60 years old, from 35 years that elephant has been mating, he had the genetics of a 150-pound elephant. He doesn't have that a 60-inch kudu bull genetic once he becomes 60 inches. When he's 35 inches, he's a 60-inch genetic bull that is being. So it got ample time. And then why let this big elephant, even in a game reserve, 150-pounder, die of hunger, or let a game ranger give it a shot in the head, a mercy shot, if there's a hunter willing to pay $1 million for that 150-pound elephant? And I always say conservation without money is just a conversation. And
I'll definitely steal on that, by the way.
Our real conservation effort is not hunting. It's the money generated from hunting. That is the conservation tool. And because I've done many scenarios. I tell the guy, if hunting was conservation, why don't we go shoot the cheetah, or why don't we go shoot a pangolin or an African black-footed cat? Because the killing of that animal can never conserve that animal. But it's a money generated in Pakistan with the straight-on markhor. There were like 30 or 40 of them left. And then United States, I think part of the Wild Sheep Incentive, I think 1975, and the IUCN, they said, let's try and save these markhor. And they started selective hunting one or two of these old males a year at tremendous amounts, 70, 80, $100,000 a piece. And today there's nearly 3,000 markhor. So the money that was generated saved that. If you just shot the old males without generating money, it wasn't conservation, because you wouldn't be able to pay game scouts. You wouldn't be able to pay for research and for this. So that's where I pick up a lot of conflict within, and I'll come back later to that when we talk about the rhinos. But trophy hunting is a misconcept, because like Mike said, that's a small deer, but it's mounted for him. For some reason, it's a trophy. Maybe I've got a small wildebeest in my trophy room. It was the first animal that actually charged me to kill me. He's about 23 inches wide, but he's on my... So trophy is in the eye of a beholder, and it's game meat is not an alternative. Plants for medicine is not the alternative. That is the original meat, and that's the original medicine. Our new medicine is alternative. The plant medicine is original. So our country is turning stuff, or our world is turning stuff around. We need to keep to the basic rules of nature. You first conserve water, soil, topsoil, grasses, plants, trees, and lastly, you conserve the animal. And we've turned that around. Our whole conservation effort is looking after the animal and not after the habitat, because our big problem is habitat. And that is what, when I've got a few ideas that I will share a little bit later, but trophy hunting, I'm proud to say I'm a trophy hunter, and I've got no problem when someone tells me something bad about trophy hunting to... I'm not someone that blocks. If I post a rhino on my Facebook and someone says, you're a killer, and I'm going to... I don't block that person. I first tell them the conservation story behind it, so that they can... And I've had many people telling me, I never knew that. You get the asshole that you will never convince. That guy, eventually you block him. I don't want to engage with that guy. But I try to... Part of my job is to educate. I love the non-hunter who understands hunting. I can understand someone not wanting to kill an animal. I've got 100%. I've got 5 daughters. 3 of them hunts a lot. One is an occasional hunter and one is a non-hunter, nearly a greenie, but they understand hunting, and she'll join me in hunting, and she eats the animals we shoot. She just doesn't want to. She feels sorry for them, and I understand it. It's the way of how it goes.
But she's not an anti-hunter, though.
What's that?
She's not an anti-hunter, though. She's a non-hunter, not an anti-hunter.
No, if she was an anti-hunter, she would have maybe been banned out of the family or something.
He would have had one less daughter.
Cheaper that way. So
Yep.
one kind of last question to wrap in there. So PHASA, for most people don't realize, but PHASA plays a significant role in promoting ethical hunting. Can you tell us a little bit or speak to how that organization balances conservation efforts with the interest of hunters?
Yeah. Um, the proof in conservation, we can only prove something that we can measure. And in the early 80s, our country had approximately 600,000 head of game on private property. Then we had some really pioneer conservationists like Dr. Ian Player, Hamilton from the Kruger Park, and that started saying, you know what, we need to get some wildlife in private hands and giving them a value. Fast forward to today, we've got more than 20 million head of game in South Africa. And the only reason for that conservation effort is because the animal has got value. The moment, if I take my 20,000 acre property and I am not making money or making a profit out of that property, we will start to farm cattle and sheep and that, so that, because once again, conservation without money is just a conversation. We need the money to conserve, and it's actually reversed. The hunters love to say hunting is conservation. I say I conserve to hunt. I'm a little bit back to front because I've got a passion for hunting. If there's no game, I cannot hunt. Now I have the extra bonus of I'm earning some money out of this. And with this money, I can pay anti-poaching so I can have more rhinos. I can buy the land next door so I can have more animal. At the end of the day, to pay and buy new species or build another lodge to get more hunters in. And unfortunately, and the hunters don't like to say it, but we have to be honest with it. We hunt for money. It's our business. Making a profit is not stealing. It's not bad. That is the free market system. And the result of making money is conserving the animal to make some more money, to look after my family, to feed my family, to make a prosperous. And if my bucket runs over, then I start feeding the people underneath me. Then when my bowl runs over with milk and honey, then I feed my workers. And when their pot runs over, they look after their extended family who's not working for me. Then they're looking after their grandmother and their mother. They're sending money back to their homes where they're working. And that is the secret of conservation. Now another term, I say we are soothing our minds to say we're hunting for conservation. Conservation, we need definitions. We cannot, when I say, I asked our government a while back when we were talking about lions and lion conservation, I said, what is your end goal with conservation? Do you want more lions? No, we don't want more. We've got enough lions. Do you want more habitat? No, there's not enough habitat and human predator conflict. Then I said, well, what are we talking about when we say we must generate money to conserve lions? What is the end goal? And I've came to the realization that a lot of we are done with conservation. Conservation must disappear. The word must disappear, except for animals that are not in large numbers. The black-footed cat, the cheetahs, the pangolin. Their conservation is still needed. But what we need now is resource management. That is what we need to do now. We've got enough elephants. We've got enough kudus. We've got enough lions. We've got enough of every single animal. There's a few endangered animals, like I mentioned, black-footed cat and certain vultures and this striped hyena and this and this and this. We need conservation, but the rest we need resource management. Now we have to assess what is our resources. We've got in the Mapambukwe area, there's 7,000 elephants. The area can take about 4,600 elephants. So now we have to manage that resource because the elephants are breaking down the trees. Now I can't have a giraffe because there's no treetop canopy. I can't have the black eagle or secretary bird because they make nests on top of the treetop canopy. They destroying the riverine bush. My bushbuck disappears. My duikers and small game disappears. And it's just, so we must start getting to the word resource management. Because conservation for me, we fulfilled that role in 90% of animals. And now we have to, and that makes a huge difference because now I can look at an elephant and I say, many years back when the Kruger National Park started, there was a abattoir on and they culled elephants and they made the elephant meat into tin food and they distributed the tin food. Now we must start thinking out of the box of resource management. Let's say that Mapambukwe area, 3,000 elephants has to be culled. Cull the elephant, a few at a time, put them into tins, start a business, a community-involved business, and I export this meat to protein poor countries. Get the leather of the elephant tanned, make some handbags, make some curios, make some shoes, get the whole community involved and tell them, you know what, you're prospering now, so look after our resources. And now we manage our resources. But we're talking conservation. We like patting ourselves on the back. Oh, we hunters are the greatest conservationists. And actually, we're killing animals. And the killing itself is not conservation. Because no hunter, if I say I need $60,000, I want to conserve lions in Zambia. The hunter will say, I will go kill a lion and I'll give you 60,000. Very few is going to say, oh, well, yeah, 60,000, look after the lions. A hunter wants to take back something. A hunter is a taker. But because he wants to take, he's paying the money, and the money is our value chain. So that's my
But it's
perception.
also just not the money though either. It's also the food part too. I mean, what people back home here don't understand is that, we go get a steak. We just go to Kroger's and get a steak. The animals that are harvested there, you can actually purchase in the store. Anybody can.
Yep.
And that's what people here don't understand. They think you're just harvesting the animals, like you said, taking the trophy and leaving everything laid. That's not the case. That actually produces food for everybody, not just certain people.
And if we can formalize that part, that the communities living next to the Kruger Park say, instead of going in and poaching duikers and kudus and poisoning the water to get some meat, let's be part of a elephant food factory. We're gonna cull 3 elephants a week for the next 200 weeks, 2 years' time. And we're going to give you a guy a job. We're going to build a factory. We're going to supply you with food, and we're going to start exporting, and you guys are making money. Instead of a grass hut, let's build you a brick hut. Let's build a school. Let's drill water holes so that the community, and that is the thing, that the meat is a huge part, because there's a monster bush meat trade, especially in Eastern Africa, Kenya, Tanzania. I think the bushmeat market takes out more than what predators can ever take off. Those guys are selling millions of tons of meat that we never hear about. But if you look it up and read about the bushmeat market, it's tremendous. And we've sitting with the resources. We've got too many elephants. That is our number one resource in the whole of Africa. We are in South Africa. We're looking at a research done 2 years back. 378% overpopulated on elephant. And these guys are destroying habitat. And when habitat loses, everything dies.
But the government refuses to release them for hunting.
Yeah, and the government get influenced by Western philosophies and Western money, and Africa must be run by Africans. And I see myself, I'm white, but I'm a African. I live off the land, but 99% of our people don't think that the beef that is eating is also it's an animal killed by someone else. It's I ask many vegetarians when they tell me, oh, I don't eat meat and that, and I ask, what do you eat? No, potatoes, soya, corn. And I say, have you calculated how much habitat have you destroyed to plant your corn? You've got more blood on your hands than a hunter who shoots his 10 or 20 animals a year, because the habitat you destroyed killed ecosystem. The elephant you're fighting for now to be alive, you took his land. We could have kept that elephant if you didn't start wanting to eat soya and corn and potatoes. And that's the biggest sin in the world for conservation, is habitat destruction. And the
they think shit just mysteriously falls from the sky. So
that's good. And we can go down this rabbit hole for hours.
Yeah, and they never I have a lot of kids, friends of my daughters, visiting me, and I see my trophy room, and they have no clue where their stuff. They know, okay, that's a zebra and that's a lion, or that's a this and that. They've no idea that's a gemsbuck, that's a common duiker, that's a red. They have no, and I even had parents calling me, how do I dare taking their kids in a room full of animal corpses? It's
easy.
Like,
you turn the knob on the door.
Yeah, and I've got my ways telling them there, and the kids are fascinated, and I teach them as much as I can, and I allow them, when I come to the ranch with my kids, if they want to shoot an animal, we do riflemanship, marksmanship, gun safety, let them shoot a little bit, and if one wants to kill a rabbit or a warthog or that, I allow them. It's just part of that, and we have to. If you own the youth, you own the future.
So how much shit have you caught for doing that with your
What's
daughter's
that?
friends? I said, how much shit have you caught doing that with your daughter's friends?
Yeah, no, that is. I usually tell the guys visiting the daughters, especially when they were younger, I showed them some spots open in my trophy room where I can still hang a set of balls or something. It's but all my um, three of my daughters are married already, and but the son-in-laws don't have the privilege like just coming on and like trying to be the boss on the on the property. They just hang around them. But no, it's
That's
what we
good.
have to teach the youth. It's
That's our future.
and we have to use what the youth are looking at, the social media stuff, and to get the message out, because no mainstream media will run any good hunting stories, not in our country.
I don't think they will in our country either now. Everybody's scared of it, the left and the right. Nobody wants to get involved.
Yeah, and no, it's but I shock a lot of people when I talk about hunting when we're at a school meeting or something. I will. The guys ask me, "What do I do for a living?" And I'll say, "I kill animals for a living." and
That's funny.
I don't make friends like that, but I get them asking some questions.
That's good. Well, let's moving on from that. Let's get into the cat conversation a little bit, and let's start with the South African Predator Association, right? Been involved with discussions around predator breeding and hunting, and so what's your perspective on that organization's work and its impact on the future of, we'll call it cat hunting in South Africa?
Are we talking captive-bred line hunting?
No, we're getting there. I'm using this to segue into it, but that's where we're headed.
No, I didn't hear the word. Are you talking cat hunting?
Yeah. So the South Africa, you and I spoke about the South African Predator Association.
Oh, SAPA, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a long story. SAPA, South African Predator Association. I think in 2009, I was the vice president of it. I was very involved in lion hunting at that stage, and I warned them that time the problem won't be created in South Africa. The problem, if we don't change our mindset regarding lion hunting in our country, the country is going to stop importing animals, and they didn't believe me. And I resigned from SAPA, and SAPA is still an organization that is acknowledged by our government, and they're part of an organization called SUCO, which is a South African, the Sustainable Use Coalition of South Africa, SUCO SA. SAPA regulate they not statutory, so they have no legal ability to bind someone to their norms and standard. They've set up breeding norms and standard, basically saying you get different lion breeders. You get a consumptive lion breeder, which is a guy takes the young ones away, feeds them with a bottle, and have people walking and petting with them. And then they have the non-consumption, where they breed in captivity and they grow up with the mother and the male inside a pen of different sizes. Each of our 9 provinces has other legislation, and they set up a national data network showing that the captive-bred lion population has got a very diverse breeding stock, a diverse. It's not an inbred population. They've got a wide variety of DNA, which makes it a positive act in terms of genetics. Further on, there was a PhD study done where people donated a male lion and a few female, and I threw it into, I think it was like a 50,000-60,000 acre property. and there was a PhD student who did his doctorate, his PhD on this, and it's been reported and published that these captive-bred lions made a wonderful living. They breed it, they caught the animals, they're living as self-sustainable lions at this stage. So they came to the conclusion that a captive-bred lion can be released into a wild and supplement areas where there's never been lions before. The scientists of the wild lions, they are very skeptical about mixing wild lions with captive-bred lions, especially of genetics and that stuff that are not origin that not always known. But at the end of the day, SAPA is trying their best, but they are very, very small contingency, and now they've got a court case going with the government wanting to sell their derivative, the lion bones, that was harvested legally over the years. There's about 8 or 9 of these lion breeders that had all their bones DNA'd and checked, and all the paperwork is 100%, and they want to export it to the East. Something that they wanted PHASA to get involved with, but although PHASA support captive-bred hunting, we said we support 100% sustainable use, and we think it is good, but we're not funding any of these projects because, number one, of budget restraints that we have, and it's only 8 or 9 members that will benefit from this court case. So giving money to 8 people to benefit, they're not. But SAPA is doing their thing. They've got a good constitution. Some SAPA members are a little bit naughty, and because we've got in different areas, Northwest have a legislation where a lion has to release 4 days before a hunt, 96 hours. Free State Province is 30 days before a hunt. KwaZulu-Natal, Northern Cape don't allow captive-bred lions, so each province has its own legislation around that. Some of my best hunts, I can tell you, in my life has been captive-bred lion hunts. It's one of the most exciting hunts. I've hunted lions in most of the African countries, and I can tell you by far that the South African captive-bred lions has been by far the best lion hunts in the whole of Africa. A celebrity hunter, which called himself One Shot Bwana, Mark Watts, was a CNN presenter. He hunted all of Africa and was totally and probably still against captive-bred lion hunting. And many years back, his cameraman called me and said they had some problems in Mozambique. He wants to come hunt a lioness with me in the Kalahari. And I said the guys are welcome. And they came, and after a 3-day hunt on foot, ending up in a charge, Mark Watts said, and his words was, if I knew lion hunting was like this in South Africa, I wouldn't have hunted any other country for lion. Most of the SCI people, presidents and stuff, has hunted lions with me, captive-bred. And I broke away from captive-bred. I'm still support the guys that do captive-bred lion hunting correctly. If they buy non-consumptive lions that had no human intervention other than being food thrown over the fence, to release into some of the large Kalahari ranches, 5, 6, 7, 10,000 acre ranches, let walk for the right time and tracking them on foot. I still support those guys, But I started what we call managed wild lions. I've got lions behind high fence, but they are wild lions that I bought from national parks. They capture their own game. They breed, they grow up, they look after themselves just as any wild lions. It's called managed wild because I have to control the numbers because of my fencing constraint. It's extremely difficult, expensive experiment. Those guys catch up to 14, 15 buffalo bulls in a year. They caught up all my giraffe. They're cleaning up. So I'm looking at maybe stopping it because the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, although we can export my lions, they give us such a tough time to do what they call the enhancement of this lion. I have to prove on each individual lion that I've hunted what was the benefit of this lion being hunted towards a community, towards lion conservation, towards lions in the wild. And it cost me about every time for the report to write to them $3,000 or $4,000 to have the people write me that stuff. And what I've told the captive-bred lion guys is to forget the concept that lions has a conservation value. Although in some way they have a conservation value, but no captive-bred lion guy has released his lions on his own property to start a wild managed thing or to start animal breeding by himself because it's just not economically viable. What I've said, leave the conservation value, go on the concept of, you know what, hunt captive-bred lion to generate money, to generate the much-needed funds to fund projects in the wild, to save the wild lions. That is what happened with the scimitar, oryx, damar-gazelle, and addax. They hunted the captive-bred damar-gazelle, scimitar, oryx, and addax to generate the much-needed funds to protect the animals in the wild. So if we had a incentive and say, you know what, for every male lion, there will be a $10,000 conservation levy being paid to a fund which is properly managed for lion conservation. And every lion being hunted in South Africa, a male lion $10,000, a female lion $5,000. You would generate millions of dollars of revenue from captive-bred hunting to benefit the conservation of the animals in the wild, or using my own word to do resource management, or write new biodiversity management plans, or do other research with that money. But now they're breaking down a $400 million business, and the game farmers who farmed with them is taking a huge dive financially because our minister wants to have a voluntary exit, and I don't think that the captive-bred lion guys are being treated totally fair in terms of government-wise. But of course, there's guys that caused a lot of problems. Rogue lion breeders, not on the norms and standard. But I've always been a guy that say, punish the rogue guys, punish the illegal guys. They don't stop a whole diamond trade because there's blood lions. Blood diamonds.
Right.
You stop the blood diamond trade and the illegal diamond trade so that diamonds can still go on. And we just want the same as a guy. South Africa's got a unique conservation model because we've got private ownership. And we own our game. And the lion guy, why is a lion different from a a buffalo or springbuck breeder or something like that. So I feel they're feeling a little bit not treated right. But they must acknowledge there were some really rogue elements and guys that were in the business, and they should be taken out. That's my Captive-Bred. I can speak thousands of hours on Captive-Bred lion hunting, and it's a good hunt if it's done correctly. And if you look at the few thousand of people who've hunted them, who's on the SCI record book on the South African lions, you cannot crook them all. You cannot mislead them all. These guys had good hunts, and that's why it's been going on for 20 years, because it's good hunting. It's not as bad as what people think. I've had the philosophy, if I take you on a Captive-Bred lion hunt, and at any stage you can stop me and say, you're not enjoying this is not fair chase, it's not ethical, and I'll pay your ticket back for you and all your costs that you had. I won't tell you to shoot it. And I've never had a hunter out of more than 1,000 lions I hunted personally with hunters that were unhappy, and most of them were guys that already hunted free-ranging lions, and they just wanted something big now, big manes, black manes. And not one of them has told me. Most of them were surprised. They said, I never thought. They said, thought I'm gonna walk into a small area, lion will be staying, shoot it, pose for the photos, and sometimes 11 days later we're still hunting.
That's crazy. That's cool. But hey, Paul, do me a favor. Can you just take over for a second? I've got people standing outside my office. I need to sign some paperwork real quick, and I got to pee also.
Okay.
So I'll be right back.
Good. That's good.
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking throughout some of your, circling back around to your military career. Did you use like dealing with some of your executive side? Actually, we'll go down a different rabbit hole. Into the counterinsurgency. Have you dealt with any of, work with your friends and stuff as far as going into the poaching side? Using some of those methods and similar tactics and things of that general nature.
Yeah, our rhino poachers are totally military orientated operation. Those guys are ex-special forces from African countries, and it's people that are not scared of operating in the night, operating in Big Five area where there's elephants and lions, and extremely good field craftsmen and brave. I've got a lot of respect for their field craft. These guys, they work on. They've got a modus operandi of planning up far ahead for poaching. They will watch Facebook pages. They will. Some have contacts inside the government. When the rhino is sold, where will it be going? Who's the buyer? They would even follow a rhino transporter truck and see where it turns in to drop off or that. And then they go for reconnaissance. These guys, 2-3 weeks, a month before the time, they'll drop someone next to the road. He'll sneak on your property at night time, check out the areas. Then he'll come back a week later. They will go in and they'll just drop a rifle there and go back again. And a few weeks later, when it's usually full moon, when they don't need any lights, they will go in, pick up their rifle, have a good idea of what's happening on your property, have heavy caliber guns, 375s, 458s, shoot the rhino very efficiently, cut off the horn, and they off. And so these guys, they are fearless. if there's confrontation, they will definitely shoot. There would always be someone with an AK-47 or something over his shoulder as well. And we have had incidents where we've made contact with them. We found rhino right on my main road that the horn was only halfway cut off, and we knew the people were on there. So it's a totally, we have to use night vision, we have to use helicopters, we have to, and the thing is, we can follow the tracks. If we find a rhino that's horn is still on him and it's been halfway cut, we know the guys are on the property. But those guys run like hell, and then they go stop. And they know you are tracking them on foot. So you can't just like run on the track and like, because you'll run right into an ambush.
Right.
So we've got some. It's so difficult to you've got like 50 miles of fencing on your property. How do you protect all this fencing? And the financial side on that is the biggest thing. So you concentrate, number one, firstly to prevent them from entering. That's our first line of defense to see. But it's so damn tough because so many agencies involved. It's the police that are involved. It is the mayor of the town who's involved. It's someone's worker on a property who's involved. It's the intelligence has to be. It's a total military operation, and you have to coordinate and stuff. And the areas are vast in the property. And the time you find a rhino poach, it's usually a day or two afterwards, although you have all the technology and you have cameras on the roads of cars and you have patrols. It's a tough business, the rhino poaching, and the people don't understand what hours and what efforts are going on. And everybody's donating for rhino poaching, but it never comes. The money doesn't reach us on the ground. It somewhere disappears, and then you see there's a little sanctuary next to Johannesburg who's got like $1 million
Right.
and Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt to there, and you think, what the hell are they doing with that money? We need it, and but we fight our fight, and we support each other, and it's sad to that our government's whole incentive on rhino is actually a dead animal is worth more than a live animal. I would love to sell the rhino horns because there's a huge market. These horns grow back. There's a huge market for them. Why can't we? Why don't they just try selling the horns for 2 years? Do it like the diamond trade. Let it go to De Beers Diamond Central selling part. Organize an auction. You register, give it in. The government can put a value-added tax of 25% on it. They can get their cut. But I have to make money out of my rhino, I have to kill it before the poacher killed it.
Well, and that leads me into this. So I think it was just a few days ago, September 3rd, you posted on your Facebook page the rhino hunt, that massive female rhino.
Yes.
And I've been following this religiously because I was waiting for the other shoe to drop in the comment section, just somebody going off or losing their shit over it. You did a great job explaining it, but could you, and I'll overlay the picture and post so everybody's going to see what I'm talking about right now, but can you kind of go through that story a little bit? Because that's kind of cool.
Yeah, actually, coming Monday, the new females will be arriving with their calves. I'm still generating a little bit of money to pay for the for the transport and everything. It's a hell of an operation. I was surprised when they called me today and say they're coming on Monday. I was hoping for like another 2 weeks. But what I've seen and what I try to tell my colleagues and fellow hunters, don't just post a picture of a rhino and a hunter there. Tell the story. Um, Even if you just tell, you know what, the money of this bull generated will go to this or that. Don't just post a hunter celebrating the death of a rhino and smiling and laughing and that. Yes, he can smile huge and he can, but tell the story. Um, a a a good story of a bad thing makes something better. I don't. I can't tell you I love rhino hunting. I actually hate it. It's one of the aspects where I'm angry at our government. Um, I will apply for um, to dart it with a hunter. Then they'll say no. This or this. I'll come to that later when we speak about the green hunting. Then I say, okay, I can't dart it. Can I kill it? Yes, no problem. He has a permit to kill it. and it's like, what the hell? What are you guys looking at? And let me get to the green hunting while I'm talking about it. The biggest objection of green hunting is mostly not a government thing, a veterinarian law. Well, I don't think it's a law. I just think it's a condition says that you're not allowed to use narcotic drugs for recreational use. And they say a green hunting is a recreational use. And I differ from them. I say it's for management purposes. I'm not a recreational because once again, now we're coming to resource management. A rhino bull of 20 inches is much less value than a rhino bull of 22 inches. So I want to dart my rhino by a guy so that I can accurately measure my rhinos once a year, so that when a hunter tells me he wants to have a SCI silver or gold or bronze medal, 22-inch plus, I know I can shoot that rhino because I measured it in April last year. And at that stage, I can physically see it hasn't broken a tip or that it can only become bigger or stay approximately the same. So it's for management purposes that I'm darting this rhino, not recreational. But it's costing me a hell of a lot of money. The veterinarian charges me for a whole day away from their practice. They have to come in from a town. They have to travel 150 miles. It's the drugs being used. That whole operation is costing me like $2,000 just to have a veterinarian dot. Sometimes we sell a rhino or we buy a rhino from someone else. Now, instead of me having to like generate $3,500–4,000 to transport this rhino, why can't I have a guy darting that rhino, paying the $4,000 or whatever? He pays my cost. Because by tonight I need some extra cost. We have to look after a rhino on the first 5-6 days because it's still a little bit drugged and it's not known to the area and it walks on the fences and we never know, is there information leaked? The government tell there's 2 rhinos coming to Randy's property and a poacher is the easiest to poach. We've had rhino drop off today and poach tomorrow. Because it's the easiest as rhinos walk until they get a fence, and they walk the whole fence line, and these poachers can sit next to a fence and just kill that thing. We put water in the corners of the fences, so to give them, if they don't find water within the first few days, they'll find it at the end of the fence. So now they've the hunters have moved past, and we have a thing called a vita dot. Now, in theory, you and the veterinarian and a PH, you sneak up to it, and the dart inside the gun is a vitamin multi-vit dart. And you hunt, and you pop it, and the veterinarian takes his dart gun and he shoots a narcotic drug. Can you? And the veterinarians involved say it's the most crazy thing, because you have to stress this animal twice, because it usually runs away with that first dart. We either have to climb into the helicopter, we have to dart it out of the helicopter with the narcotic. And many veterinarians who are also farmers, they understand you must generate money and you must manage your resources. They tell you, man, I will load the real dart in for you. That type of thing. Government is on all rhino hunts and restricted activities and darting. And they actually will call this an illegal hunt. But in some provinces, I think the Eastern Cape, they are allowing it. I've had some, I think my government in a Free State province, they know I'll fight them until then. I usually get a permit to dart it, because I don't stop when I have something that I know is not wrong. And it's to the advantage of everyone at the end of the day. And I'm the owner of that rhino. The government doesn't own my rhino. And they're restricting my rights to manage my animals. And they can't tell me to measure a horn is not management, because now I'm not sure what that measures, so I shoot the biggest one, the bigger one, to make sure I bind it to my contract of a 21 now, of a 22 inch. And now I'm not 100% sure because it's not measured. Now I shoot the one that I know is definitely bigger. And then it's like a 25, 26 inch rhino. And it's animal that is $20,000-$30,000 worth more, just because I couldn't measure it due to their stupid actions. So, but
that sounds like a shit show to me.
Yeah,
sounds like
so, but I think it's one of the greatest hunts that you can get, a green hunt. There's nothing better for me when that rhino is laying off the photos and you tell the client, yes, the veterinarian puts it into the vein and the client pushes in the wake-up drug, and after 3-4 minutes, the rhino gets up and runs away. For me, that is sustainable utilization. We're earning money. We don't have to kill it. And our law states to make money, the only way you can get a rhino on out of our country is to kill it. And that's wrong. That's 100% wrong. I ran a campaign that made the farmers very angry. I said I farm with rhinos. Other guys are farming with sheep. So if I have to kill my rhino to harvest the horn, he must kill his sheep to harvest the wool. Why can that guy take off the wool and sell it and do the same sheep next year? But I have to kill my rhino if I want to sell the horn. Why can't I cut it off? It grows back and cut it off again. So I said, well,
Yeah, I
if
never thought about it like that.
Well,
That makes
and it
perfect
would
sense.
save the poaching piece too, because if you pretty much did the horn every year, they couldn't go get the horn because it's already gone, so they wouldn't kill the rhino.
yes,
At least get
if
off the market
no,
completely.
we definitely it's in um, if we have the legal horn on the market, poaching will go down
Exactly.
by 70%.
Right.
The value of the horn will definitely drop because it will be. But at this stage, what the people don't know, the the rhino poaching syndicates, their mission is to kill all rhinos. It doesn't help you cut off the horn and the poacher comes there and, oh, this rhino hasn't got a horn, we're going to move to the next property. They kill that rhino, not only to harvest a little piece of cut off horn left, but their mission is the, the less rhinos there are, the
Yeah, the
higher
more the
value
the value
the
of the horn.
stockpile becomes. So they come on a property, and if there's no horns, they kill everything. They kill the calf, they kill the mother, the dehorned, they kill it everything. They go to the next place and they kill everything, because each rhino that's killed is making their stockpile worth more money. And that is why I'm saying our government is organized, is involved in organized crime, because why not try this? We've tried everything. We're asking the private Rhino Association, asking for 2 years. Let us sell rhino horns. We had the biggest private rhino owner, John Hume, had more than 2,000 rhinos that he owned. He got like 220, 250 growth of rhinos a year. He bankrupted himself, and I had to sell this whole population of rhinos to some group because the government doesn't want them to sell horns. The Kruger National Park had approximately 12,000 rhinos. There are just over 3,000 white rhinos now. The private owners had about 30 white rhinos in the same time, and now they have more than 6,000 rhinos. So now the government is asking us, private rhino, we must give back our rhinos so that they can stock the Kruger Park. Why? Who's the real guys looking after rhinos? The private enterprises. We're growing in numbers, they're coming down. So it's ridiculous. It is totally ridiculous.
It's
The value.
counterproductive too.
Yeah, and the value of rhinos are going down because a rhino eats about 50 pounds of grass or alfalfa a day. When it was dry, I fed my rhinos 90 tons of alfalfa a month. It was costing me like $20,000 a month just to feed these animals. And then the government tells me they're the custodians of all rhinos in the country. I said, well, a good custodian feeds the stuff. Where can I get feed? Bring me some feed. Send me some feed. Why must I pay to look after these rhinos? Now I get emotional about it, and I've had huge arguments which I cannot defend because the rhinos' numbers are coming down. The value of the rhino, nobody wants a rhino anymore. You can a young rhino for 8 years, it can just die. And hopefully it survives so that you can kill him by a trophy hunter to get his horns back.
Yeah,
Uh,
we spoke to Sarah Ripley Forsyth, I think last week in a podcast, and she's also pissed about the rhino thing, and she brought up that she was just at a game auction, and it was a travesty in that nobody would bid on the rhinos. There's all they do is cost them money. There's no return investment on it. It's just, and so you've got all these rhinos that nobody's buying now.
yeah, the only value that a rhino has, except of being part of the wildlife biodiversity, it's got no physical value if it's not killed, and that is the problem. And we have the means to stock the market full of rhino horns, and it's just now people are wanting to poison the horns and put and radioactive material in the horns so that. But now tell the guy, but doesn't matter what you put in the horn. That rhino still need to be killed so that the poacher can get the radioactive horn and not use it. And the problem is most people think rhino horn are used for aphrodisiacs, and that is the smaller part of traditional medicine is aphrodisiac. The traditional medicine board of Vietnam, I visited them and we spoke to them what they use it for, and it's for cancer medicine, it's for this and it's for that. It's a huge market, but the placebo effect of the thing, out of a 3,000-year-old nation, you're not going to change it by educating, because it will. And us Western guys, a lot of people that have a little bit of arthritis have this little copper bracelet around there. It's got no medical value. It's a placebo effect. Africa should understand traditional medicine because our country is full of a vulture paw and a gallbladder of a bear and this thing of a monkey and that of a crocodile. Our shangomas, our witch doctors, use traditional medicine all the time, and even our legislation allows them to use certain protected species. So why are we against the Chinese or the Eastern guys using traditional medicine? A rhino horn, especially, I think it's the only animal that we have in Africa that you can renew this medicine. You have to kill a vulture, you have to kill a crocodile to get the traditional stuff. A rhino we can keep alive and supply the whole world for its money. And then a lot of the rich Chinese business guys they decorate it with jewels and they put it up as an ornament in their house as like a sign of power. But it's a very interesting history. In the early times, when the Chinese emperors, the only way of assassination in those years was by poisoning. And all poisons have a protein base. And a rhino horn has got an alkaline base, so they made cups out of rhino horns. And the moment you pour wine or something that has a poison in it, the protein has a chemical reaction of the alkaline and it starts boiling. So if you gave your friend a rhino horn cup and you throw a drink in there and it boiled, it was a sign that I'm not trying to poison you. So there's a lot of stories and that stuff, traditions, and we have the horns. It's there. But that's my story on rhinos. I'm fighting a hell of a fight for rhinos.
Sounds like it, but no, I think the way you're going about it. I mean, unfortunately, it's logical and it makes sense, right? And the greenies and everybody else, because it's logical and makes sense, they're instantly going to dismiss it because it's not emotional.
Yeah, it makes sense, but to put this sense into legislation, there's not the will from our government doing, and the rest of the people who don't own rhinos don't care. They just don't care. And at one stage of my life, I got rid of all my rhinos. At one stage, I had more than 60 rhinos, and I got rid of all of them. And only recently, I started putting them them back now, and they are much cheaper now than what they ever was, and I'm putting them back. I like them. I don't like hunting them, but I have to hunt them to. It's just a part of the business scene. Tell me I can sell the horns, I might probably let them hang around for much more longer, until I have to hunt them. And
That would make
that's what the
sense.
people don't. If it pays, it stays. If it's not, I didn't inherit anything from anyone, and I have to pay my way in the stuff. And I've lost 6 rhinos with poaching already, and we're putting a huge incentive of trying to protect it. And yeah, it's a sad story actually.
Yeah, no, it is for sure. But I had something I kind of glossed over earlier, so I want to circle back around. When we initially talked about PHASA, and you explained it to us. There's another note that I had. There's another group in South Africa, the Custodians.
Yes.
So, but they are not associated with PHASA, and they're different. Can tell us about that group?
Yeah. I think it was in 2016. There was a group of PHASA members that say we must totally not support captive-bred line hunting, and our members, we put it up for discussions and workshops, and I think at the 2017 AGM, by means of vote, we decided to stick to all ways of legal hunting in our country. And then this group of guys decided they cannot live with being in an association that doesn't condone professional captive-bred hunting. So they broke away. Tremendous good guys, a lot of them good friends of mine, experienced guys, legendary guys, Kunrad Vermaak, and they took away some of the PHASA awards that some of them donated to, but everybody thought that's the end of PHASA when these, because some European hunting organizations kicked PHASA out, and even SCI tried to, but at the end of the day, we respect the views of the custodians. They basically the same, but they've got a much more philosophy of we hunt more ethical than the PHASA members, and that part is not true. That part is totally not true in terms of that. Not saying the custodian guys doesn't hunt ethically. What I'm saying, the PHASA guys do hunt ethically. And on both sides, we've got the question on ethics, and PHASA decided to change the word from ethical to responsible hunting.
That was actually my very next question I was going to.
Yeah, and the thing is, to finish off with the custodians, there are a lot of good guys doing good work. They don't agree on captive-bred line hunting. They felt safer in organization. I'm not sure how big they are. They probably 40, 50 people. I'm not sure how many full members. Dallas Safari Club, SCI, everyone support them. We don't have a problem with them. They're not a threat for PHASA. Actually, PHASA just became stronger when they started their own organization. But they're good friends of mine, and good guys, really good guys. They um, they aren't the same way than us, and now and then they don't hunt color variants, but I have some of them posing with black impalas and stuff on their photos and stuff. So at the end of the day, they also realize that economics is an important thing, but they are very strict on the policy of the captive-bred line hunting. I don't think they will allow their members to participate in that without being expelled or what, but good guys, I get along with them, and we disagree and on a point or two, but we agree to disagree, and we're going on with our life. They're not a threat, and getting to responsible hunting and ethical hunting. It's responsible. If we look at the let's call it the dictionary meaning of the responsible hunting is more the legal aspects, the licensing, the permits, the practical side of what you're doing. You doing nothing wrong. We've got all the permits and the permissions, and we're using the right rifles, and we are safety aware, and we support everything that we can get a permit for. We don't have to participate in everything. Where ethical hunting is more a moral philosophy side of hunting, that is looking at respect of the animal, fair chase, so-called fair chase, the feel-good part of hunting, that way you can pat your shoulder, oh, everything was fair, but in practice, it's a personal thing, where you have to decide what will you be comfortable with. So ethical hunting for you might differ from me. My question is, if a bow hunter shoots a big kudu bull at the water, sitting in a blind, and they post a photo, everybody congratulates him. If that same kudu bull out of the same blind is shot with a rifle, and the guy poses next to the water with him, and everybody will say that you shoot that at the water, that you do. It's the same action, it's just a different weapon that is used.
Well,
so
and Mike just had this happen on one of our on his black wildebeest. I think I told you about it. He spot and stalked a black wildebeest, and it took a long time, and he was able to get in range, which was comfortable for him. And we ended up catching a bunch of shit about it from a few people and mostly it came from other South African PHs that, that's not an ethical shot. The range was too far, but he chose to spot and stalk it, and he's comfortable at that range. And obviously it worked because it was on the money. But we caught all this shit about it because, oh, it's not ethical. You shouldn't shoot that far. He's quartering too hard. That's a bad shot, this and that. Well, what the hell is the difference? You'd rather him shoot it out of the blind? Does that make you feel happier? You can't have it both ways.
And like I told you, Steve Corbin shot a Hartmann zebra with a bow at 110 yards. And there's people. So my big thing with ethics is a personal fulfillment that you have in your mind. How are you going to hunt? But you cannot hunt ethically if you're, number one, not hunting responsible, because you have to have the rifle, you have the permit, you have to have permission from the landowner, you must do all the responsible stuff. Then you must decide, I'm not I'm not a big supporter of a public perception of hunting. Um, I say we as hunters, we must educate, but we cannot let public perception rule hunting. Hunting has never been a spectator sport, and um, it is total different after I've experienced a buffalo charge and there's a lot of emotion, adrenaline going. If I look back on the video and show it to someone, I'm not experiencing that same emotions, and the viewer is not experiencing that emotion. Now, suddenly, they start pointing out, oh, you nearly shot your tracker. Oh, it was this. And oh, after the shot, you didn't open your bolt and your bolt was still closed and you could have killed your gun is pointing towards a tracker. And the people start analyzing that 4 seconds into like 200 single frames and telling how bad you done to and you don't get that. So I'm not a big fan of too many hunting videos. There's great hunting videos, but you don't really catch the emotion, especially these guys you rent that just gets the shots on and you stalking and and they edit a little video of you. There's
Well, and that's one thing that was going to lead to my next question, and I'll kind of preface the question with this. You know, we've caught quite a bit of shit in the last couple of years because we don't show just the money shot, right? So,
Mhm.
you know, and many times in a hunt, you know, we strive for an ethical first shot, one shot kill, the animal goes down quickly and, you know, humanely. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes there's a follow up required. And with Saffin's Black Wildebeest,
There's
that was an
more
example.
times that that doesn't happen than there is times that it does happen, especially if you're bow
Yep,
hunting.
yep, no, for
Yeah.
sure.
So and we catch shit about it. And my response to these people is, well, that's fine. I can do what everybody else does, and I can show the arrow being released and the animal down on the ground, and not show the rest of the shit. But that's not being truthful to the audience either. You know, hunting's not always pretty, and I would love to show just the great parts, but I feel that I'm doing a just disjustice to everybody that watches our content and that supports us if I don't tell the whole truth surrounding it. So I preach to do things a certain way, and I preach transparency. But if we can't do it ourselves, who the fuck am I to be on, you know, a podcast talking to you about transparency, right?
Yeah, no, it's um, take an example of a guy like Mark Sullivan. I think he's one of the greatest hunters around because you must know his philosophy on hunting before you judge him. Number one, it says you're not hunting dangerous game when a buffalo's at 150 yards or a lion at what dangerous about it? You're shooting just at another animal. Um, the rumor that he specifically wounds the animal to get the charges, that's a lot of BS going on there. But um, one thing I like about him and the people disagree. When you usually wound a buffalo, we always tell the people, let's wait like 20 minutes and let him stiffen up and let him before we. Um, he believes during that time the animal is suffering. Marcus says, if you're an ethical hunter, follow that animal immediately. I'm talking dangerous game now. And if that thing is still strong and pissed off, and then you face him like a man. Don't wait until he lays down and bleeds out and that. Go, you wounded him, go finish him off as quickly and as humanely as possible. And I was thinking about that animal sometimes with a bow hunt, we wait like we look at the video or the guy says he hit him in the gut and I say, let's wait 2 hours or we may. And you come there and that animal's like still all woke, still awake and he's been suffering and shoot him with a rifle if you can't get close enough or whatever. Now that animal's been laying there for 2 hours trying to die. If you followed him up immediately, you could have put him out of his suffering within the next 10 minutes. So there's a lot of arguments on that. I think the only ethics that we must agree on is to kill the animal as quickly and accurately and as humanely possible. Put in a good shot, put in a backup shot, put in another shot, get him on that. Everybody should be 100% in agreement.
100%.
Now, yeah. Now I have to decide. You know what? We have some hunters that not strong enough to walk. Got that. Pop it from the top of the vehicle, or I've not tested, but I've seen guys' ethics change. I've a lot of hunters who just love walk and stalk. I love it myself, but I allow all legal hunting. If a guy decides he wants to, I'm not shoot from the truck. I'm not going to preach for him. Go find another outfitter. He asks me if it's legal. I say yes, and we do it that way. I tried to make it fun, and I tried to just get off on the side of the vehicle, walk a little bit, put out the shooting stick. I try a little bit of stuff to get the guy going, but I've seen 100% walk and stalk guys, and then we drive back to camp, and this monster kudu or steinbuck jumps out, and that guy grabs his gun and he just pops him off the truck, and suddenly it's like, I don't tell him or say something. Now I'm thinking, hey, you were like, just now we don't shoot anything from the vehicle, and now it's
Well,
so.
I'm guilty of it. Mike and I were in Namibia last year, and I was able to get several kudu permits. And we went out specifically for a kudu, and I ended up taking a management bull right away. PH is like, hey, this is a super old bull. He's not the trophy caliber you're looking for. I'm like, but he's the oldest, most mature bull there, so let's take him. And we loaded him up, went back to the skinning shed, and we're pulling out of the gate. It wasn't 5 seconds later. I think Mike said, we're gonna come around this corner, and there's gonna be a monster standing there, and you're gonna shoot it. Sure as shit, we're in the high rack, and we turn the corner, and there's nearly a 60-inch kudu standing there. I shot him off the high rack.
No, but it's no, that is the opportunity comes around you. You take it, and now we've. Why we've replaced ethical with responsible in PHASA is ethical. It should not be in a constitution because it's not measurable, and a constitution is law. And we have different opinions about ethics. So how do you do a disciplinary action against someone that is said to be did something unethical in the hunting field? So we took it out because responsible covers this. If say this guy shot a kudu with a 6.5 millimeter, a buffalo with a 6.5. Now someone will say, we cannot accuse him of being unethical, but I can accuse him as not responsible. It's irresponsible to do it. You can hurt someone. You can that. It's dangerous. You have a 60% chance of winning. So it was not responsible, although it can be legal. In our province, we don't have minimum calibers on private property. You're allowed to use any gun caliber on any gun.
But there also you have the same person who says, is that ethical to shoot a buffalo with a bow?
Yes, it's exactly that. You have.
I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah, and the big thing, the the anti-hunters and the greenies, they love when a hunter fights a hunter, because what it says, it takes that post and it prints it, and when we have meetings or when there's a government wildlife forum where everybody sits there, the greenies say, you know what, we're not fighting you guys. The stuff you're doing, your own hunting, the custodians are fighting you. The other professional hunters, they say you're unethical or you're not that. Or that game rancher says he doesn't allow bow hunting, or that guy on internet, the guys are fighting over each other, and the greenies are just enjoying the hell of it because hunters are fighting the hunters. I don't like bow hunting, and bow hunting, this guy trapping is not ethical, and that guy is this and that. So if we just can come, hunters need to unite, and we must understand when we're going to a meeting, at the end of the day, we see that we are all killing animals. And the greenie, they guys are clever. They are using a specific incident for, let's say, captive-bred lion hunting is their vehicle to stop lion hunting. But if you look at that guy's constitution of the campaign against canned hunting, the constitution, it says to stop all trophy hunting. So they take the lion, and now the custodians take hands with these greenies, and they fight with the greenies, and they fund the film Blood Lions, and they to fight us. But in the meantime, they're funding these guys to, like now, let's say they get captive-bred lions out of the picture. Then the next is the rhino. Now we're going to take the rhino away. Now we're taking the leopard away. Now we're taking... So they use a certain animal. Now if you take hands of that, guys, you're becoming a anti-hunter campaigner to stop hunting. And if the lion industry was about canned hunting, then Cecil the lion would not have been an issue because he's a free-ranging lion. Then I should have said, we have no problem you guys hunting free-ranging lion. Now suddenly you shoot a free-ranging lion and it becomes the biggest anti-lion hunting campaign ever in the world, and poor Dr. Palmer lost about everything on that. So is it captive-bred? Is it captive-bred lion or is it hunting? They don't care if it's 1,000,000 acres or if it's 100-acre spot. They've got a problem. You're killing a lion, and we need to understand that, and we need to engage with these guys, because there's points that Greenie and I agree on. We say we must protect the animals and we must ensure populations of animals survive. But at some stage, doesn't matter how, at what model you look like, at some stage you reach a stage where you have to take numbers off to protect habitat. You have to kill. So all in all, I think accept, you don't have to agree, but accept all ways of legal and responsible hunting. Don't condone it on public pages. Don't, if a guy posts a photo of a soft-boss buffalo, don't tell him you shot a youngster, or don't tell the guy congrats. What? Maybe there's a reason why he had to shoot the soft-boss. Maybe the thing's leg was broken. Maybe he got it for free. Maybe he got it for... He's proud of his animal. Doesn't matter if it's a 40-inch, 18-inch boss buffalo, or it's a this or that. Be happy for the guy and promote our sport.
Well, and that's the problem with social media, and that's going to lead into this next question. So from a social media perspective, do you believe that social media has ultimately helped or hurt the conversation around hunting and conservation, particularly in South Africa?
Um, I will never blame that social media hurts it. I blame that people using social media is hurting hunting. It's like um, people get excited about their hunting and they shoot an animal now and it's still busy kicking and blood pouring out of his mouth and they post it on social media. I killed my first gemsbuck or I killed my this. So social media is a huge and a great and a super tool, but the people are not thinking when they're posting. So I'm not giving social media. It's like a gun doesn't kill people. It's people who are irresponsible with guns that kill people. A gun is a tool. The gun is the social media. I load social media with certain ammunition. Sometimes I load it with a blank. Sometimes I load it with a hand grenade, and stuff explodes and stuff breaks and that stuff because what I'm loading onto it. So if we can just realize, just take a minute and have a little bit of responsibility of this, what I'm posting is touching every hunter's right to hunt, every hunter's um, respect and integrity of the industry of what I'm posting today. So I try to post, and you can go back on my Facebooks and on Choice Africa. I post good hunting stuff. I don't really get hate mail out of my hunting posts. And even if I have to tell a story that isn't even a story, but I need to tell a story when I post a dead animal on Facebook. Um, so yes, it made a lot of damage by people who post the wrong stuff on there. We don't need to see slow-mo of an impact shot of a lion and it does a somersault in the air and he falls there and zoom in with blood pouring out of his mouth and his hunters laughing and high-fiving and that stuff. We can post an impact shot quick, done and away, and you can have the lion nicely cleaned up and stuff stacked up and show him on the next picture. And you can have the guy be happy and smiling and high-fiving. You can have that on, but not while the lion's blood is pouring out in the back, right, and he's still kicking. So yes, it made a hell of a lot of damage, but it's not social media's fault. It's the irresponsible way our hunters are representing themselves by posting stuff. And then negative post has got this huge worldwide reach, which is negative.
Well, and that goes to so you've got these hunting, we'll call them air quotes as the hunting influencers now. They've gained huge followings, right, on all the platforms of social media. So my question regarding those type of people, are they beneficial for the industry or are they doing more harm than good?
There's some great hunting influencers and there's some bad.
You're just really trying to get him to catch a bunch of shit, aren't you?
I'm asking all the questions right now.
There's some. I've hunted with a few, let's call it celebrities, and a guy like Colorado Buck. What a character! What a nice guy! A lot of people don't like him. That guy just a real hard-working hunter, having stuff out of these. I think it's the only guy I know who can take a picture of his shadow and you can recognize him. is um, is he won the Dallas Lion of the Year with a lion that he hunted with us, I think 2016, a trophy of the year. And but then you get that guys who like really they started hunting a year back and now suddenly they influence it. And unfortunately, it's usually a lady hunter with some big boobs and blonde hair and that
See,
bow
boys, I didn't even have to go there. He went there for me.
and doing shooting a bow with a bikini top on, and she tells you you have to use this and this blade, and this is how many grains and that, and then um, and you can see how she battles to pull the bow, and she can, and that's but. So some of it's a joke. It's marketing sprees, but I think that people
But
see
people
through.
listen to that shit too. They believe that shit and they listen to those people.
But I don't think the real hunter. Um, I don't think they're looking at the bow. They're looking at the bikini top.
That's a
and
hundred. That's 100%
but
true.
but 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 unfortunately that because you are watching it and you liking it, they get more power and they get more influential, and the sponsors give them more stuff to put through the book. There's
Yeah,
a
they're incentivized.
there's a few ladies who can really hunt. I don't know if you know Julie McQueen. Um, she had a show with a previous boyfriend or husband called Back Backroads and Backstage, or Backstage and Backroads. Um, she came as a first time hunter with us, and she really had um, a good experience there, and she became a great student of hunting and that, and became, and later on I was actually surprised after a few years that I saw she had a show running, but nothing of, she's a beautiful woman, but nothing of the bikini top type of programs and stuff that she
Bullshit.
had. Yeah, all
Bullshit.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, and what my
and
thought is, when you see
yeah,
that
and
stuff, right?
so
Mowing a yard in a
um,
bikini, and you
and
have a hunting show.
yeah, and we've seen that lady hunters is becoming a huge market. We're starting to get wives calling us and say, well, me and my 7 friends are coming on a safari. And I say, the husbands? No, the husbands are going to Argentina. We're coming to Africa. We're starting to get that. We're starting to get where usually it was the husband and a friend coming hunting. Now it's a whole family coming to hunt, because the economy is now, South Africa is such a great country. The guys come on a 7 or 8 day hunt, and they spend 14 days in the country. They visit Cape Town, the Kruger Park, Sun City, that stuff. They have their summer vacation in South Africa, 2 or 3 weeks, of which part is hunting. And we love that, because um, I'm not a guy who, if the dad hunts, and I can see the kid or the wife is keen to shoot something, I don't charge those guys hunters daily rate. I let them, let's shoot a warthog. Let's see if you can get that impala, and I'll tell them, I need some camp meat, shoot that springbuck
Right.
or whatever for. And I don't need camp meat, but I just want to get them involved a little bit. As soon as a non-hunter starts really becoming logistics on their own, I will like say, well, we need to pay for another another vehicle or whatever. If the non-hunter becomes like it's taking 15 animals now,
Right.
and it's but on average, so these ladies, these influencers, if they can, even wrongfully or with the wrong information, swing one guy to come to Africa, they're doing a good job. But if they become like a slutty business where, you know what, come to Africa with me, book a hunt with me, and maybe you can score a little bit extra from me if you join
Happy
me.
endings.
Yeah, that type of stuff. So
Well, and it's
then
not
I
just women doing it. There's these hunting
mm,
influencers
mm,
that are also men that and I'll talk about the Africa piece just a little bit that come to Africa once, normally South Africa where everybody's lands their first trip, and they go on a 5-day safari, right? To
yeah,
normally Limpopo, where most people land, and then all of a sudden they're a fucking expert because they've been in country for 7 whole days, they've hunted for
ah,
5 days, and now hey, you got to do this, and
yeah,
hey, you got to come
yeah,
with us and hunt, and this is the best outfitter that's ever lived. Fuck, you've been in country
yeah.
for 7 days of your entire life. You're not nearly the
Mm.
person I give a flying fuck about listening to.
Yeah, no,
There's no
that's
credibility there.
no, that's yeah. It's usually I love hunters to do their homework, and I'm the first guy if someone asks on a hunting group, how's this safari business or how's that, I'll tell them. They say, man, the Chroma Safari, I'll tell it's great guys. They will make it a hell of. I don't try to throw in my name or throw in my company, private message them, can I send you a quote or that stuff. If they ask me, how's those guys, and I know it's good guys, I tell the guys. And but I do try to, when I see someone is asking and I know there's something little bit fishy, I will private message and send them, or if these guys, I'll tell them and I'll attach an article or I will attach a disciplinary action that is ongoing at PHASA with the guy. And I would badmouth, I said, just make sure and ask your outfitter if this or this has been resolved or this, and ask for his professional hunter's permit, ask for his outfitter permit, ask for the hunting rights of that specific animal. If you're going for a rhino hunt, ask him to email you the permit with your name on it and that stuff. I'll advise the guys, and but these 7-day hunters and going back as an expert, you must. The worst part is when those guys come back, they want to guide their clients as well. And I've had many occasions where this person, male or female, is with me, and then I put out the sticks, and then I say, that impala on the right, and then they'll say, no, the one on the left looks very good as well. And
Don't
then I
guide your
like,
guide.
then I like turn around and say, you tell her which one to shoot, and then, or I'll say, okay, let's shoot both. And if mine is bigger than yours, then you pay double. If mine is smaller, I'll give it to you for free, both of them. So and not saying that the hunters can't recognize something better or see something before me. Many times a hunter pats me on the shoulder and shows me what's that, and I look up. It's a big kudu bull standing there that I missed. And we're a team. We're working together, but yes, these influences are sometimes a little bit overwhelming, and then you get the older guys who's asking money for you just for him to be there, like Craig Boddington say, I will be on the hunt, but it's an extra $10,000 because I'm on the hunt. That's also like
That sound familiar,
it's
boys?
appearance fee type of thing is a strange concept, but maybe you've read 1,000 books of the guy and you just want to spend some time around the campfire. Go for it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who promotes you, but check out the outfitter and let him send you references and let him ask 1,000 questions. I love all the questions that the hunters are giving me, and at the end of the day, these influencers are doing it for themselves. They want to make money. They don't care a shit about if there's another outfit who calls this lady and say, well, I'll give you 20% commission, or I'll give you that. You'll be the next best outfitter in the
Right.
world. And
That's exactly right.
the old guy became a crook, and you've got a new outfitter now
Exactly.
who's the best in the world. So there's South Africa. We are blessed with a lot of great outfitters and professional hunters. And I've met most of the big guys because for a long time in my business career, I acted as a wholesaler when I had the two lion properties up in the Kalahari. Other outfitters booked their lion hunts through me, and I had the business model is like, bring your company's shirts and hats. I'll be wearing that. My trackers will be wearing that. Everything is just your company. If you want to tell the guys it's your ranch, you just tell me you told the guy it's your ranch. I'll play the game. The only thing I will not do is tell them the lions came in from Botswana or the lions this. They have to sign a form from me. They know this was a captive-bred lion. And for long, and then just later on, I started off just normal outfitting my own clients, hunted hundreds of them, thousands of them, and then went wholesale when the lion industry was really good. Lions and rhino and big game, and then I turned back to back on my own again for the last 10 or 11 years without that, and still outfitters use my property and come to hunt with my property, but mostly my own clients. So we are a happy bunch of people, but it's what we've seen now. If we go to SCI or Dallas, suddenly the outfitters become enemies again. The guy who was like your best friend, I don't want to greet you in Vegas or in Reno and that stuff. And it's strange where when we started off in the mid-90s, 5 outfitters bought one hotel room, and we like bought mattresses, and we were like 7, 8 guys in one hotel room, and we would have parties and drinks together each night with your clients that you booked, and everybody was just happy. Now dog eat dog in the industry, and I'm lucky enough now that I don't do most of the big conventions anymore. I just come on mostly in September month. I book a hunt or two, or my clients invite me, do a few house parties, visit the stuff. I'm blessed to not having a good client base where they serve me my hunts that I hunt in a year without much marketing going on. And that comes just with word of mouth and a few social media stuff. And I'm busy actively upgrading my website page. The next 2 months it will be totally renewed. But we try to, like I said, be to service of the industry at the end of the day.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, we're going on 2.5 hours right now. So, and considerate of all the time you already spent with us, let me cut down to one final question. And I ask all of the guests on the show the same question. And then Paul and Staffen, if you've got anything. So from your opinion, what is the best province to hunt in? Is it the Free State, Limpopo, Eastern Cape? What do you got?
What is the best?
Yeah, what's the best province to hunt in South Africa?
One thing I can tell you before I say which is the best, each area has different species, and of course, number one area is the species where they come in natural habitat. So where the most abundant of the animal. But with the game ranching, animals has been spread all over our country, except the specialized animals like blue duiker, red duiker, which are not really game ranch. I will say the best province to hunt in is Free State Northern Cape, and I will tell you why. Um, we have the most diverse habitat from mountainous area to thick blackthorn bushes to open plains to savanna grassland, camelthorn trees, and we have the most number of species that naturally occur that can never be occurring in Limpopo. A lot of the Limpopo outfitters come down to the Free State to hunt the springbucks, the color variants, Hartman zebra, our lechois, and we are allowed to have some exotics. So we have our dat, we have scimitar and oryx, which you cannot import. We have a few specialized animals that are not available in Limpopo. The other thing in Limpopo is it is so heavily bushed. It's definitely a tougher hunt in the Limpopo, but in our areas you see thousands and thousands head of game every single day moving around, where you can spend a whole day in a Limpopo and maybe just see a duiker running across the road or a warthog or something. But each part of our country has a special hunting place. I prefer the Free State and the Northern Cape, not only because that is where I'm situated. Our logistics is very comfortable for hunting in terms of we only like 40 minutes away from a airport. We are 40 minutes away from wonderful private hospitals. We have
I assume you're talking about Bloemfontein.
yeah, from Bloemfontein we're 100 miles. I drive there in an hour. Bloemfontein, Kimberley is 30 miles away from us, which is also a big city. So we logistical wise it's not, but when I need a bushbuck, I would rather go to the other great province to hunt is KwaZulu-Natal, KZN. It's a beautiful, beautiful. I love that as well. So it's tough to say which is the best. Limpopo is statistically wise the most popular. If we look at our hunting statistics that we get back, they have the most hunters there. But I think they've got the most densest game ranch population or game ranch farmers. They've got thousands of farms there. The Free State has got a lot of normal cattle and corn farms and stuff with a lot of game as well. Natural free-ranging springbuck, mountain reedbuck, steinbuck, duikers, that type of stuff going around there. So, but I plan my hunt on, you send me a list of species and I tell you we can do this. I love to hunt 2 properties at least or 2 venues on like a 10-day hunt. It can be a little bit monotonous sitting on the same ranch for 10 days. So I like to do like a 4 or 5 days, one property, take a half-day travel or a day travel, and we're totally at a new area and getting new energy out of the area. But everything is
Perfect.
tailor-made and custom-made to whatever, and I supply a itinerary, and we adapt it, and we do what feels the best. But at the end of the day, when we meet each other, we are still 100% adaptable. We had people coming there and suddenly they decide, oh, they would love to get a blue diker, or I hear from a guy, there's a monster bushbuck on his cornlands or on his alpha lands that comes out every evening. Then I'll tell you, hey, are you willing to have a 2-hour drive? We're going to sleep in a guest house. Let's go try for that bushbuck. So we adaptability.
Let me ask you this too. So, and this also comes up, and I know I said that was my last question, but I thought of one more. So, from an outfitting perspective, do you commingle groups in that? Do you have a husband and wife, and then do you put another group of people that don't know those people, or do you just only keep the same group in camp at one time?
Can you just say that again? I broke up a little bit on my mic.
Sure. So when you've got a group of clients in camp, do you do multiple groups at the same time, in that you may have a group of 4 hunters and another group of 4 hunters and they don't know each other, or do you just stick with one group at a time?
No, I just take one group at a time. If it's a single guy, or if it's a what I do tell the hunter is that, let's for instance say I booked you on a safari. There might be an in and out hunter just coming without to pop a buffalo, shoot a buffalo and go. With his outfitter, with someone else, we are totally on the other side of the property. We won't see each other, or I will tell you, the guy will be coming in today just shooting a giraffe. He's having lunch while we're having lunch, but if you want to sit on the same table, if not, but I do not book 2 guys in my camp, or 2 different groups in the camp. That is non-related. I want personalized. I'm not a mass hunter of. Sometimes we get big groups. We just had a group of Spaniards of 14 hunters in one group, but that's one group. But I don't do a double booking on the same property. So no, I don't do that. And I just quickly want to get back on. One of your questions was about using of drones and that technology.
Yes.
That
He beat you to it, Paul.
Yeah, we do. We do have a drone available, and we only use it when we have wounded an animal, something big like a buffalo, and we cannot find it, or it's inaccessible on top of a hill. We first see if we can find it with the drone, but we never use a drone beforehand to look for animals, to do anything. And the reason why we have the drone with thermal is basically our Rhino anti-poaching tool, but we do use it to our advantage. Of that, these super long-range rifles, one of those things that it's part of a certain group of hunters. I'm totally, I don't know how these guys shoot tremendously well. I don't know how they get to hit something. I just know that at the time a shot reaches animal, and if he steps up 1 or 2 steps forward, in that 2 seconds the bullet travels, we might wound. I've had guys, but never doing these ultra high long shots, these 1 mile shots. I've had guys doing like 700 and 800 yard shots, which was successful. So once again, I don't like target shooting at animals. I'm someone that believes we can get closer than 700 yards to the animal, but if this guy wants to do it, and we know there's a good chance, higher percentage, and killing it and wounding it, or if wounding it, finding it in a good time, then I've no problem. But And thermal imaging, yes, at nighttime, our predator controlling and that stuff, it helps us tremendously. Leopard hunting, tracker cams is saving us a lot of money by not having to drive around everywhere. Some of the areas have that we hunt are like 50,000 acres, and every time to drive to a blind to see if a leopard has been fed is 2-3 hours of driving there and back. So if the camera sends me an image of a leopard or something or thing that eat, we do use it, but we don't go out and say, well, let's look for the buffaloes with the drone. We sit in camp and we don't do that type of stuff. But we acknowledge the technology, and if we can use it to help a hunter, especially on a big animal that's wounded, I don't want you to go home with a wounded buffalo in the field. We've even rented helicopters to search for certain animals and stuff before, because they can just disappear. It starts to rain or it's rocky area, and I don't like working on luck. Each day that passes, the hunter is getting more negative. He doesn't want to shoot something else. He feels bad about this animal in the field wounded and everything. So we try to get it with all means possible. Because when it wounds, I feel there's no more rules left in hunting. We have to get it and kill it when it's wounded.
By any necessary means.
Yep. Full force.
I agree.
But,
yep. Well, Paul, did he take yours, or you got something else?
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it seemed the drones helped with the anti-poaching, or is it still kind of too early in the use of them to really get a good feel for it, or what have you seen so far as use of drones in the poaching industry or anti-poaching?
The drones.
Yes.
I'm gonna for anti-poaching.
Yes.
Yeah.
Has it seemed to help?
It definitely helps. That firstly, we try to. It's one of the information that we send out with our people in the communities. We tell them we're using drones and with that, and we even fly it, show them a little bit in our. We call it a location where some of the rural community lives in certain areas. We go to the area and we fly around and show them some footage and stuff just to get the word out that we have something with it. And yes, especially when the thermal imaging and stuff came out, it started to help us a lot. If I can just fly around, especially I've got some hill country where we cannot drive. And a drone helps me tremendously to fly in that areas and to see if I see there's a rhino in one of those valleys, then I actually use the drone to push him out there, that it comes to better areas where they can be monitored. So yes, it definitely helps, and it helps when we know that the poacher, like that one that the horn was cut but not taken yet. So then we can fly around and see where they beating an ambush and that stuff. So definitely we use DJI drones, and we've got a Habrok